The Helium network has nearly 940,000 IoT hotspots in over 72,000 cities, but it seems no one is using it. This was big news earlier this month, along with reported pushback from two major names listed as partners of the Helium network, those being Lime and Salesforce. In fact, we even covered the Salesforce integration with the Helium network on this channel back in April of 2021. As it turns out, it seems that integration may have never gotten off the ground. Shortly after that bombshell, Nova Labs announced its acquisition of FreedomFi to accelerate expansion of the network, and finally, after that, just yesterday, a proposed migration to the Solana blockchain was announced. A lot of bad news here, some decent news, and a lot of unanswered questions. Let's take a look at the details in today's video. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another video here on the Crypto Compound channel. Thank you all so much for being here. Please hit that like and subscribe on the way in. It really helps support the channel. Guys, I have been absent for quite some time. I got married, went on a honeymoon. I've been away for maybe 3 weeks without any uploads, so I am sorry for that, but I am happy to be back. And as it turns out, it seems like the entire time I was gone, Helium has gotten absolutely crushed. We are going to touch on a lot of the big news that has happened and some of the big news that happened just yesterday. Everything from the false partnership headlines to the missing demand side growth or the no revenue from the Helium network, then to Helium purchasing FreedomFi, and then finally, most recently, the big news as of yesterday is the movement to the Solana network. Now, one of the main things I want to touch on that we will get into in more depth at the end of the video is this movement to the Solana network, of course, pending a vote here, as Armand says. However, the problem I have with this, it's not the demand side growth that I have the problem with. Of course, that is very low if it is true. However, it is the suggestion here that Armand is making that this movement to the Solana network will fix the data credit usage. As you can see, he says this will unlock accurate accounting of data credit usage, currently drastically undercounted. Now, I find that very hard to believe. I feel that if that was true, Helium or Nova Labs would have a billboard in Times Square. They would have a commercial at the Super Bowl advertising the accurate data credit usage if in fact it was significantly higher than what it is now. But guys, that is for later in the video. We are going to talk about all of this, and as you can see, I made some updates here. I included the Lime and Salesforce denying the partnership here on the timeline of the chart and the mobile rewards beginning. These are two big things that have happened more recently. I did not include the data credit scandal here because that has sort of been going on all of August, and as you can see, Helium and HNT has fallen off a cliff, cratering towards the deadly red line we have down here, right around the $5.30 level. If we look, severe underperformance over the past few weeks. As you can imagine, this is worst case scenario for Helium. Very bad. Underperformance in this market is a horrible sign, but of course it could also be opportunity for those who believe in the network, believe in the coin, the future of 5G and IoT, and the direction HNT might be headed. Of course, now it is a little bit harder and there are a lot more skeptics out there than before, but of course that will drive the price down. And if you do believe in Helium, this would be an even better time to think long term and look past all of this if you can. And of course here, the Web3 index, a lot of people have been skeptical about how accurate this is. However, regardless of how accurate or not, Helium is getting absolutely crushed. It used to be number 3. It is now number 7. 30-day demand side fees are almost zero, and 90-day fees are no better. But guys, this chart is really bad. We will have a separate video breaking down this chart. It is not looking good whatsoever. But we are going to touch on the first bit of news, which was the false partnerships. As I mentioned, we actually made a video on this channel. It was one of the first 5 or 6 videos on this channel, and it outlined this partnership or this integration. There were some diagrams and some screenshots from Salesforce that showed a Helium integration into it. Apparently that must have been a demo and never got off the ground. But as we know, on the helium.com website, this is where they used to list Lime and Salesforce as users or partners of the network. They are no longer there, and Amir Halim himself has made this thread here on Twitter outlining some of his rebuttal to these claims. And I do understand some of it. However, from a company with a $1 billion valuation, I think it is incredibly poor practice to have to make these kinds of posts. It looks really, really bad. And look, I am a huge supporter of Helium, but this is really unacceptable from a company of this size and of this evaluation. And I imagine that some of the venture capital firms or these big investment firms that are plowing money into Nova Labs are equally as disappointed, but really bad stuff there. Now, shortly after there was this article on August 3rd, headline, Helium only generated $6,651 of revenue from its wireless network in June. There is a quote here from a venture capitalist, in fact, coming to Helium's defense here saying, revenue is not designed to be turned on right now. You're building the infrastructure first. This is incredibly interesting because if this is true, then is he not aware of the accurate accounting of data credit usage or the undercounting of data credit usage that is going on right now? So very confusing to see this statement made along with Arman's statement here. They are contradictory. That is a horrible look. And then of course, somebody who is a venture capital backer, you would expect them to be in the know about what is going on, but it seems that they don't know what Arman might know, if that is in fact true at all. So this is a severe problem. And if we look here at the data credits burned by day, we can see the data transfers are the yellow piece. They are virtually non-existent. They have gotten worse and worse and worse. That is really, really bad. It's almost inexplicable if it is not a blockchain issue. And I'm sorry, but if you look at the coverage for the Helium network, how can you say that we are still building? Of course, in these big cities where there are 20, 30, 40, 50 hotspots in certain hexes, of course, the network is built out in these areas. Why is it not being used is the question that investors and speculators here in the marketplace are going to be asking. Next, we see about 2 weeks later, Helium developer Nova Labs buys FreedomFi to accelerate push into mobile service. Now, this is a little different because this is now referencing the 5G network, whereas this other stuff was really talking about the IoT network. This, I think, is good news. Of course, it shows investment and the acknowledgement that Nova Labs needs to take the 5G network more seriously. However, this also could just be bureaucracy. This could just be a bunch of spending money to make the headline and make things look really great, but maybe nothing, in fact, will change. But it does say FreedomFi team members will join the Nova Labs team to lead the network's expansion. I would say this is good news for the 5G network. Time will tell. Now, most recently, we can see Helium developers' mole migration of crypto wireless network to Solana. Now, of course, we know that a lot of the backers of the Helium network are also backers of the Solana network. That could have a lot to do with this. There is also now, it seems funny how all of a sudden the Helium blockchain is no longer sufficient after people made a lot of noise about no data credits being spent. And it seems as though this might be a ploy to sort of say this is the fix. All of a sudden data credits are going to show up after this migration. Of course, maybe that does happen. I would be extremely surprised if that does happen, but maybe this will be very beneficial, and getting off of the historical Helium blockchain will be beneficial. We of course know that the Solana blockchain is extremely durable. It's been applied to multiple applications, so that will be very good to see. However, I don't know if it's going to fix Helium's problem here of no demand side growth. Now, guys, I want to finish up talking about this migration to Solana. There is a nice too long don't read section on the Helium Foundation blog post. And as we can see, number 2, again, moving data transfer accounting to oracles. Now, it doesn't say here that right now the data transfer accounting is broken or inaccurate. So I think Arman is trying to make it seem as though this is going to fix the data credit usage problem. However, I really highly doubt it. As I mentioned, Helium would be blasting that information out everywhere they could. If that was the case, they would have a massive chart with what is being reported right now and what is actually happening. So guys, I don't think this is going to be an overnight fix for any of these issues we're seeing. However, I do think long term this could help the network. Guys, I know we covered a bunch here. I'm just trying to catch up with regards to what has been going on with Helium. It has been a while, but I am happy to be back. We had a great time with our wedding and our honeymoon, but I really did miss you guys. I'm happy to be back, and I will be uploading much more frequently going forward. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for watching until the end. Please hit that like and subscribe if you have not already. Please leave your comments and questions down below. But guys, just like that, this video is over, and I will see you next time.